Hey everyone, welcome back to the DevOps Wife YouTube channel, and I'm Naomi. Today, we'll be diving into the basics of operating systems, the differences between GUI and CLI, and we'll get hands-on with Linux, one of the most popular OSs in tech. In this video, we'll talk about different operating systems, the pros and cons of graphical interfaces versus command line interfaces, and then I'll introduce you to Linux. I'll also walk you through tools like the macOS terminal, Windows subsystem for Linux, and multipass to help you get started with Linux. By the end of this video, we'll cover some key Linux commands that are essential in DevOps. If you're interested in more DevOps and cloud-related content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let's get started. First off, let's quickly cover what an operating system is. An operating system, or an OS, is the software that manages your computer's hardware and software resources. It's the foundation that allows your apps to run. Now, there are different types of operating systems that you may have heard of or that you use every day. The first operating system we'll look at is Windows. This is the most widely used desktop OS, and it's known for its user-friendly GUI. We'll talk about what a GUI is in a short while. It's commonly found among homes, businesses, but less often used for servers in the DevOps world. The second operating system we'll talk about is the macOS. The macOS is Apple's operating system based on Unix. It's popular among developers due to its Unix foundation, which shares a lot in common with Linux. The third operating system we'd look at is Linux itself. Linux is an open source operating system that is widely used in servers, cloud infrastructure, and DevOps. Its flexibility and security make it ideal for managing large-scale systems. Androids although primarily used for mobile devices, is actually based on the Linux kernel, so it's also an operating system. This just shows you how adaptable Linux can be. And then lastly, you have the Unix, which is an older operating system that served as the foundation for many modern systems, including macOS and Linux. In DevOps and cloud computing, Linux is the go-to operating system because of its power, flexibility, and stability, especially for server management. You heard me mention GUI and CLI. So what's the difference? GUI, or graphical user interface, is what most people are familiar with. It's the interface with icons, windows, and buttons that you interact with using a mouse. Examples include the Windows, the macOS, and desktop versions of Linux like Ubuntu. It's easy to use, visually intuitive, and requires very little technical knowledge. Now, the CLI, or the command line interface, is text-based. So you interact with it by typing commands into a terminal. While it may seem intimidating, it is far greater in terms of control and efficiency for tasks like server management and automation. It is more powerful and faster for executing complex tasks. In DevOps, we work with CLI all the time because it allows us to quickly manage servers, automate workflows, and script processes. It is crucial for managing Linux-based cloud environments. So, what is Linux? Like I said before, Linux is an open source operating system, meaning its code is available to the public for use and modification. It's highly secure, it's flexible, and forms the backbone of most cloud infrastructures. In the world of DevOps, Linux is essential for managing servers, automating deployments, and building scalable applications. Many cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, GCP, which is Google Cloud, offer Linux-based servers. In another video, I'll show you just how to create your own Linux-based server. Now, there are many flavors of Linux and they are called distributions. Examples of this are Ubuntu, Red Hat, SUSE Linux, Fedora, Debian, Kali Linux. They each have slight differences, but at their core, they operate the same way. And so now that you know what Linux is, let's talk about how you can start learning and using it. So whether you're using a Mac, Windows, or something else, there are several tools to help you get started with Linux quickly. So if you're using a Mac, you are already halfway there. macOS is built on Unix, which shares a lot with Linux. You can open the Terminal app and start using commands that are nearly identical to Linux commands. I'll show you how to get this done in a short while. For Windows users, there is a built-in tool called Windows Subsystem for Linux, or WSL. Now, WSL lets you run a full Linux distro within Windows without needing a virtual machine or a VM. It's great for learning and using Linux alongside your Windows system. You can check out how to set it up. I'll attach a link. Now, I want to quickly talk about Multipass. Multipass is a lightweight virtual machine tool from Canonical. Now, this makes it easy to create and manage Ubuntu instances, and it is perfect for quickly spinning up a Linux environment for testing DevOps projects. This might be ideal for Windows users because it's easy to use, it's easy to install. I'll show you how to install and launch it. This is the Multipass website. Simply go to multipass.run/install and then pick the OS that you want and simply follow the instructions to install it. After installation, you should see a GUI app which you can just click to launch your own virtual machine. Like I said, this is ideal for Windows users to play around with Linux. But for macOS users, you can simply open the terminal. This is what the terminal looks like. Now that you have your Linux environment set up, let's go through some essential Linux commands that you'll need to know for everyday use. Now, you'll hear me say a lot of words like directory. Don't be scared. In Linux, a directory is simply a folder. Let's get started with the first command. The first command is pwd. Let me make this bigger so you can see. pwd simply means print working directory. Remember, I said a directory is a folder. And so the print working directory command shows you the current directory that you are in. From this, you can see that I am in the users folder in the NeneU folder. So this shows me which current directory I'm in. The second command is the ls command. The ls command simply means list directory contents. So it displays the contents of the directory you are currently in. The next command is the cd directory. Cd simply means change directory. So it allows you to move from one directory to another, or in other words, from one folder to another. So I can change my directory to another directory on my computer, like downloads. And you can see my directory has changed to downloads. So if I type pwd, now it's telling me that I'm in my downloads folder. One very important command to learn is the mkdir. Mkdir simply means make a directory, which is create a new folder. So I'm going to create a new folder and call it Linux. And then I press enter. So I can change my current directory to my Linux folder. So I will say cd into Linux. And there you have it. My directory has changed to my Linux folder, the new folder that I just created. I can verify this by also typing the pwd command. Another command that I can run is the touch command. The touch command simply means create a file. Now, mkdir is used for creating folders or directories, while the touch command is used for creating files. So, inside my Linux directory, I can create a file called plantain. Now, I can list the contents of my Linux directory, and I will see my file called plantain. The next command that we will run is the rmdir. Now, your guess is as good as mine. This simply means remove a directory or remove directory. Now, we use this when we want to delete folders. But before we delete this folder, let's learn the rm command. The rm command is used for deleting files. So let's go ahead and delete the plantain file. So I will say rm plantain. And then if I list the contents of my directory, it's gone. Let's also go back one step. So I want to change my directory again. So I will say cd ... which means go back one step. So I'm back in my downloads folder. And so I can rmdir my Linux folder. That's it for today. We've covered operating systems, GUIs, CLIs, tools to get you started with Linux, and some essential Linux commands. We'll look at more Linux commands in the next video. And so if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more DevOps tutorials and tips. See you next time.